New York City. 2019. Inside a glass-walled office, a man believes he is a god. His company is valued at $47 billion. More than Ford. More than Marriott. More than the airline that flew him there. He didn't build a rocket. He didn't invent an algorithm. He rented desks. 18 months later, that $47 billion didn't just drop. It evaporated. The god was fired. The desks were empty. And $1 billion in cash was gone. Not stolen. Not invested. Just burnt. This is not a story about real estate. This is a story about a cult, a con, and the greatest hallucination in the history of Wall Street. This is the story of Adam Neumann, founder of WeWork. Success usually starts with a plan. This started with a hunger that nothing could satisfy. Imagine arriving in America with nothing but an ego the size of the Empire State Building. Adam Neumann was a 6'5" Israeli immigrant with flowing hair and a voice that could make a stone believe it could fly. But before the billions, there was the struggle. Adam was a serial failure. He tried to sell crawlers, baby clothes with built-in knee pads. Parents didn't want them. He tried to sell foldable high heels for women. No one bought them. He was living in a cramped apartment, staring at a bank balance that looked like a phone number starting with 0. He was the definition of a hustler with nowhere to go. But Adam had one thing that venture capitalists would later pay billions for, the aura. In 2008, amidst the smoke of the global financial crisis, Adam met Miguel McKelvey. They saw a building in Brooklyn. They convinced a skeptical landlord to let them sublease a single floor. They didn't have a staff. They didn't have a cleaning crew. They stayed up until 4 a.m., scrubbing floors on their hands and knees, painting walls until their eyes burned, and drinking cheap coffee that tasted like battery acid just to stay awake. They were broke. They were desperate. But in those late-night hours, Adam realized something terrifyingly brilliant. The world was changing. The 9-to-5 was dying. People were working for themselves, but they were doing it in lonely coffee shops and dark bedrooms. People weren't just looking for an office. They were lonely. Adam realized that if you sell a desk, you're just a landlord. And landlords get boring valuations. But if you sell belonging, if you sell community, if you sell a soul, you're a visionary. And visionaries get paid in billions. Most people play the game of business by the rules. Adam Neumann played it like a fever dream. By 2012, WeWork was growing, but growing wasn't enough for Adam. He stopped talking about rent and started talking about elevating the world's consciousness. He banned meat in the office. Not for health, but because he decided it was part of his vision. The offices weren't just workspaces anymore, they were high-energy hubs with free-flowing beer taps and loud music. Then came the moment that changed the trajectory of finance forever. Enter Masayoshi Son. Masa was the head of SoftBank, a man who controlled a $100 billion vision fund. He was a man who liked to bet big, really big. The meeting was scheduled for 2 hours at WeWork's headquarters. Masa arrived late and told Adam he only had 12 minutes. Most CEOs would have panicked. Adam smiled. He didn't show Masa a single spreadsheet. He didn't talk about profit margins or tax implications. He took Masa on a walk through the building. He showed him the energy, the youth, the vibe. He talked about a future where WeWork wasn't just an office, but a way of life. We live, we grow, we bank. Masa looked at this long-haired giant and asked one question: in a fight, who wins? The smart guy or the crazy guy? Adam didn't hesitate, the crazy guy. Masa nodded. You're right. But you're still not crazy enough. Adam took that as a challenge. He didn't just ask for investment. He walked out of that 12-minute meeting with a commitment for billions of dollars. Suddenly, WeWork was no longer a company. It was a beast that had to be fed. With Masa's billions, the discipline vanished. They were opening a new location every few days, often in buildings they didn't need. They bought a $60 million private jet because Adam needed it. They hosted summer camps that looked like Coachella, where employees were forced to stay in tents and drink until sunrise while Adam preached from a stage. The company was growing at the speed of light, but it was also burning cash like a jet engine with a leak. And the world was about to find out exactly how deep that leak went. August 2019. The world was waiting. WeWork was finally going public. The S-1 filing, the document that reveals a company's inner secrets, was released to the public. Investors opened the document expecting to see the blueprint for the future. Instead, they found a corporate horror story. The numbers were staggering. WeWork wasn't just losing money. It was losing $100 million every single week. For every dollar they made, they were spending $2. But the weirdness went deeper than the losses. The document revealed that Adam had trademarked the word "we" and charged his own company $6 million to use it. He was buying buildings with his own money and then renting them back to WeWork at a profit. It wasn't a business, it was a personal piggy bank disguised as a startup. The document was written in a bizarre, spiritual language. It was dedicated to the energy of we. Wall Street analysts, who had been praising Adam months earlier, suddenly realized they had been breathing in his exhaust. The valuation didn't just slip. It collapsed. In a matter of weeks, the $47 billion valuation plummeted to $20 billion, then $15 billion, then $7 billion. The IPO was canceled. The dream was dead. They were running out of cash so fast that they had weeks before they wouldn't be able to pay the thousands of young employees who believed in the vision. The board of directors realized that if they didn't kill the king, the kingdom would burn to the ground. To get Adam to leave, to stop him from burning the whole thing down, SoftBank had to pay him. They didn't just give him a severance package. They gave him nearly $1 billion in stock, cash, and credit. The man who had overseen the destruction of $40 billion in value was given $1 billion to simply go away. Meanwhile, thousands of employees, the ones who had scrubbed the floors and worked the 80-hour weeks, were fired with nothing but a good luck in a cardboard box. Today, the neon signs are still there. But the soul is gone. WeWork eventually filed for bankruptcy. The consciousness of the world wasn't elevated. It was just a real estate deal gone wrong. We live in an era where charisma is currency. Where a vibe is worth more than a profit. Adam Neumann didn't fail because his idea was bad. He failed because he believed his own lie. He convinced the world that a desk was a revolution. And the world was desperate enough to believe him. The lesson? In the world of high-stakes business, if you can't see the product is you.